Studios has spoken and they've named the man who will direct Captain America. Plus, Bond is back. Alison Haislip talks to Daniel Craig about his latest turn as 007 in The Quantum of Solace. And I'm checking in with you. I want to hear what you have to say about this week's top stories. Hey guys, I'm Layla Kaylee and this is The Feed Week in Review.
The Feed Week in Review.
Hey guys, welcome to The Feed Week in Review. Over the next half hour, I'll be here to give you the biggest headlines from the worlds of technology, video games, and pop culture. These are the stories that are shaping your world, and it's the only news you need to know. We're kicking things off with a big story that broke on Friday. If you got an iPhone, Google will soon be getting a bit more personal with you. A free update to the iPhone's Google app is expected any day and will include voice search functionality. Now, instead of typing a search query on the keyboard, iPhone users will be able to simply hold the phone to their ears and ask their phone a question. When the iPhone is lowered, the voice search automatically stops and displays the results. The app will also use the iPhone's location services, so if you simply ask your phone for movie times, it will display results for your city. Computers recognizing human speech have been in the works for over a decade, and this new Google app is said to be a giant leap forward in voice recognition technology. Now, Avengers Assemble, fans of the Marvel Comics have been not so patiently waiting to find out who will play first Avenger, Captain America. But even though we still don't know who that actor will be, we do know who will be directing him. Marvel Studios has chosen Joe Johnston to shepherd the film towards its May 6th release date in 2011. Now, Johnston may seem like an odd choice since his credits are a bit eclectic. He designed the vehicles for Star Wars, storyboarded the convoy action scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and directed Jurassic Park 3. But Marvel believes that all of those experiences add up to the perfect man for the job. Before Johnston gets to work on the Captain, he'll have to finish his current project, which is working with Benicio del Toro on The Wolfman. Now, moving from Marvel to DC, we've still got months to go before Watchmen hits movie theaters, but some fans of the graphic novel are already unhappy about director Zack Snyder's version of the story. In an interview, Snyder confirmed that his film has a happy and upbeat ending, which is a far cry from the giant alien squid that attacks New York at the end of the novel. The squid is part of the way author Alan Moore brings humanity together to fight against the impending alien invasion. But Snyder insists that the entire time he worked on the film, the squid wasn't in a single draft of the script. So it wasn't something that he decided to just cut out the story. Giant squid or no, we won't find out what happens to our fictional world until March of 2009, but we'll keep you posted. Okay, let's move away from the big screen to see what's going on in the gaming world. Christina Milian is a singer, dancer, and actress, and now she can add a video game star to her resume. X-Play's Blair Herder caught up with her to talk about what it was like to take on the role of Carmen in Need for Speed Undercover.
There's a new Need for Speed, and if that alone isn't enough to get your engines revving, lending her talents to the game is hottie Christina Milian.
I am hanging out with multi-hyphenate Christina Milian, and we're here to talk about Need for Speed Undercover.
Yes.
Let's talk about your involvement in the game. Tell me about it.
Well, I fortunately get to act in the game. The whole theme of this new Need for Speed game is actually like a movie within a video game. So when you watch it, it's almost like being in a Michael Bay film.
Check out that action. Oh, to heck with that. Check out Christina.
Maybe you want to race me sometime? You know, how about across town? My character, her name is Carmen Mendez, and she's a mechanic, and she's really into cars. Kind of thinks you're cute, by the way. And,
Me specifically?
talk about the game.
Oh. Basically, Christina Milian thinks I'm attractive, and it's on film now.
That was quite a run you had the other day. As an actress, I'm actually playing towards the player and your character in this video game. I kind of like look everywhere, talk to my friends like this, and get really comfortable, so I played it like I normally would.
All right, cool. And
Yeah.
by the way, you just said I was your friend as well.
Yeah.
Again, one more for me.
Christina Milian adds some kick to Need for Speed, hitting stores November 18th.
Thank you, Blair. She's such a cutie. All right, if you want to play Need for Speed Undercover on Turkey Day, place your pre-orders now. It comes out next week on November 18th. In the meantime, let's catch up on the other big gaming stories this week. You may have noticed a ton of people calling in sick in the latter part of this week. That's because World of Warcraft fans were home celebrating the release of the second major expansion set from Blizzard, World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King. Thousands of fans waited in lines at midnight launch events held all over the country, and all they wanted was a chance to give stores their hard-earned cash to gain access to the new continent in the World North Friend. Anyone who's played Little Big Planet knows that part of what makes the game so enjoyable is exploring the user-created levels. But this week, some of those levels started disappearing without any warning or explanation from Media Module. Moderators are pulling levels that they believe infringe on copyrighted material, and once they're gone, they're gone. They just disappear from the servers. Sadly, the deleted levels can't just be republished once the offending material has been removed. The creators are forced to start all over again from scratch. And if you've ever experimented with building a LBP level, you know that's a very time-consuming and often frustrating endeavor. Media Module says that they're working on a feedback system that will at the very least explain why people's levels are being removed, so they should. Now stay with us, because in just a moment I'm going to find out what you guys think about this week's top stories. Plus, Alison Hayslip will go undercover with Her Majesty's Secret Service and talk to Daniel Craig, about the latest installment of the Bond franchise, Quantum of Solace. Sit tight, I'll be right back.
Week in Review.
Welcome back to the Feed Week in Review. We are going in depth on the news that made headlines this week and shaped your world. And since these stories are a big deal in your lives, I want to hear your opinion. It's time for me to get a little feedback. Alright guys, first Avenger, Captain America officially has a new director, but I want to know who you guys think should play Captain America. Let's start with Jared from Madison, Missouri.
Hey Layla, I think that Terrence Howard should be the next Captain America.
Now, I've heard the rumors of Will Smith being cast as Captain America, but I just don't see him as being Captain America. If there's a Hancock too, sure, go ahead and cast Will Smith, but as for Captain America, I think they need to find somebody else.
I think the next Captain America could be played by Aaron Eckhart. Not Matthew McConaughey, not Matt Damon, but Aaron Eckhart.
Brent, I'm with you. Alright, it seems like we're all over the map on what actor should be our first Avenger, but for the most part, you guys want to keep it in the family. Most of the people you've mentioned have already starred in other adaptation of comic books and graphic novels. Alright, let's see what you think of another beloved graphic novel making its way to the big screen, Watchmen. There's already been controversy surrounding this film. Now it's time to hear if you guys are going to miss that giant alien squid and how you feel about Zack Snyder changing the ending. Here's Trevor from Boston.
V for Vendetta, you saw that changing the ending is not necessarily a bad move. It can work, but this will definitely have shockwaves throughout the hardcore Watchmen fan base.
As a dense symbolist tone, changing the ending totally messes with the metaphysical ramifications of the whole book. But as a piece of cinema, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I think it's a bad idea to change the ending of one of the greatest graphic novels of our time, because it will kill it for everyone.
Nice get up. Alright, so it sounds like you guys are not exactly thrilled about Snyder changing the ending to Watchmen, but it'll be interesting to see if the people who haven't read the novel will like the film. I guess we'll see. Alright, let's move on and talk about the controversy over at Little Big Planet. I wanted to know how you guys felt about people having the levels that they painstakingly built in the user-created section deleted with no warning or explanation. We'll start from Rob in New Jersey.
I can understand Media Mogul deleting all the user-created levels, but I think it takes the whole purpose out of why they put the level creator in the game.
So we get a really cool creation tool to play with, just to get the content censored later. Isn't that a little counterproductive to the cause?
When you put a level creator in there, what do you expect people to do? Do you expect them to just not create something like a Mario level or something like that? I think it's really ridiculous what they're doing, taking on these levels and not letting people re-upload.
I'm 100% with you guys. Alright, after listening to all of you, I think we all agreed that it's important to respect an artist's copyright, but most of you thought that Media Module should at the very least warn people creating these levels before deleting them. At least give them a chance to remove the offending material, right? Alright, thanks to everyone who weighed in. I'll check back in with you again next week. Now let's go in depth on the stories surrounding some of the biggest names in tech and the web. Google launched a new web tool this week that tracks and predicts outbreaks of the flu all over the country, and they won't have to do much extra work to gather the data. Apparently, when most people start to feel sick, they Google flu symptoms before they even call their doctor. So Google's philanthropic unit decided to turn it into a web tool called Google Flu Trends. They've run some tests on it and found that they can predict outbreaks up to 10 days earlier than the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. If you want to see where the sickness is, go to google.org/trends. There you'll find graphs and maps of the country, and you can stay clear of the hotspots. Hey, if we could only track some STDs, then we'd be talking. All right, when we think of social networks, the first names that come to mind are powerhouses like MySpace and Facebook. But Microsoft is throwing their hat in the ring as well. This week, they announced that their MicrosoftLive.com portal will become a full-fledged social network. So if you've been using Windows Live Messenger, you're already a member, and everyone you chat with is automatically on your friends list. And going forward, you've got a lot of people to connect with. Windows Live Messenger is the most popular IM service in the world. Over 268 million users are members. And now all those people can feed their activity on other websites like Flickr, LinkedIn, or Twitter into the activity stream for all of their friends to see. Now, Windows Live isn't the only website making some big changes. Over at YouTube, they've been in negotiations with all of the major movie studios to bring feature-length films to the home of the short-form videos. And this week, they announced that MGM will be the first studio to get on board. It won't be long before that iconic Roaring Lion will be gracing multiple YouTube channels, but for now, only 2 of them are up and running. You can check out MGM Impact. It's got short clips from classic films like Rocky and The Magnificent Seven, as well as 2 feature-length films, Lone Wolf McQuade starring Chuck Norris and Bulletproof Monk starring Chow Yun-fat and Seann William Scott. There's also a channel devoted to the popular game show American Gladiators. MGM promises to refresh both channels every month with new sets of ad-supported videos. Alright, that's what's happening on the World Wide Web, but now it's time to come a little closer to home and see what's going on in the G4 newsroom. Let's check in with our G4TV.com correspondent, my favorite, Scott Michella. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Layla. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. All right, let's get to it. Tell us what the top stories are this week for our webheads out there.
Okay, definitely. The biggest buzz right now is over XPlay's Adam Sessler and his open letter to the Xbox 360 and PS3 fanboys out there.
Okay.
He's got a segment called his soapbox, and he's specifically called out the mudslinging that's happening on Metacritic.com. Here's the story. It's the age-old "my system is better than your system" argument, but this time it's Gears of War 2 on the 360 and Resistance 2 on the PS3 at the center of the whole thing.
Okay.
Each fanboy camp has been posting negative reviews on Metacritic, and it's gotten completely out of hand. They've been posting these negative reviews for the other game system.
Gotcha.
So Sessler says they probably haven't even played these games, and in the end, he calls the whole thing rabid adolescent selfishness.
Wow, he's looking for fans out there. I gotta ask you though, have you ever been a console fanboy, Scott?
Yes, I'm going to admit right now I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy. I've been a Nintendo fanboy, and honestly, it's kind of like the old baseball team thing where you have a team you root for,
right,
and your friends, you
like
don't
the
just
Yankees
want
and the
your
Red
team.
Sox.
Exactly, you don't just want your team to win. You want the other team to lose, and badly. So I'm a huge Nintendo fan, and I always was, anti-Sega. Now I actually love Sonic the Hedgehog, but back then there was no convincing me. So
according to Adam, you're adolescent. Grow
that's
up.
right,
Stop fighting.
exactly. I was 11 at the time.
I'm just messing with you. All right, now let's hear about the most popular videos on G4's site this week. Tell me about it.
You got it. Valve's first-person zombie shooter, Left 4 Dead, is due out November 18th for both the PC and the Xbox 360.
Okay.
And earlier this week, Valve released a short demo to give gamers a little taste. Here at G4, we got our hands on the demo a little early, so we posted a direct video feed that shows the first 15 minutes of gameplay. And if you have the bandwidth, definitely go to the site and check out the HD version. To be honest, we kept the difficulty level low for our run when you watch it, but expect the expert difficulty setting to be absolutely insane. The commenters who played it are calling it very addictive and fun.
Did you get a taste of this yet or no?
I haven't yet played it, but it looks amazing. It looks like a lot of fun.
Well, it sounds like Left 4 Dead is shaping up to be one of the biggest titles of the holiday season.
Definitely.
But what's the web team's favorite news item this week? That's what I want to know. This is always my favorite.
Okay, I'll try to keep a straight face here. From the "you cannot make this stuff up" department.
And we have a department.
Yeah, we do. We have a whole department. I'm that person. Comes the story of an armless man in Munich, Germany, who stole a 23-inch television from a store.
Nice.
And now he didn't do this by himself. He had 2 accomplices. They strapped the thing to his chest so he could walk out with it. The staff didn't even know the TV was missing until they saw the security camera footage.
Wow.
This story inspired, as you can imagine, countless comments, including my favorites. Here they come. Commenter Walter White, who said, "That's nothing. Guess where they hid the remote?" And another commenter named Lakey, who wrote, "He may not have arms, but he sure has cojones."
So Scott, where did they hide the remote? Never mind. All right, couldn't have said it better myself. I also want to thank everyone in the G4 TV newsroom for staying up all night to keep the news on tap 24 hours a day over at G4TV.com. Thank you so much, guys. All right, in just a minute, Alison Haislip gets shaken, not stirred when she spent some time with Daniel Craig. She'll find out more about the Quantum of Solace. Then, the Mars Phoenix lander sends its final Twitter. I'll tell you what NASA is planning on doing with the rover now that the Martian winter has arrived. Stay with us.
Feed Week in Review.
Welcome back to the Feed Week in Review. It's the only news you need to know. So the latest installment in the Bond franchise, Quantum of Solace, opened in England last week, where it immediately broke box office records. Now it's time to see how it does on American shores. Here's the very beautiful Alison Haislip, with stars Daniel Craig, Olga Kurylenko, and director Mark Forster.
Continuing to redefine the role that has spanned decades, Daniel Craig is back as the ultimate 007. Picking up just moments after his lover's murder in Casino Royale, a renegade Bond goes on a rampage to avenge her death and obtain a Quantum of Solace.
This man and I have some unfinished business.
How do you think Quantum of Solace pushes the evolution of the James Bond franchise?
Daniel pushes that evolution because he really humanized Bond. And I sort of wanted to put my stamp on the visual side of it and created the film sort of a little bit retro, like the early 60s Bonds, which I always loved.
I think you're so blinded by inconsolable rage that you don't care who you hurt.
How ambitious of a Bond film is Quantum of Solace?
Ambitious as it has to be. It's a Bond film and you've got to kind of push the boat out. We had, Casino Royale was thankfully a huge success, and therefore we had to answer that by doing something as good, if not better. That was the deal.
The action sequences in this film are unbelievable, and he fights land, sea, and air.
Yeah, that's sort of my idea. I had sort of these 4 elements I had in mind. You're the first who picked it up, fire, water, air, and earth. That was sort of my concept.
Wonderful. Which was the most difficult to shoot?
They're all difficult.
To adequately capture the elements required taking the production to 6 different countries, and in the end, lent realism to the most perilous action sequences Bond's ever seen.
It was all about making it as real and as visceral as possible. Dan Bradley, who shot it, is one of his big theories, and one of my favorite car chase sequences in The French Connection, which is where they just stick a camera in the footwork. That was the feeling we wanted. We wanted to feel like every impact hurt, every impact was real, and I think it kind of pays off.
The great thing is about both of them, Olga and Daniel, they both did a lot of their own stunts, which is great for the director because you really can get in there with the camera and don't have to shoot around a stunt double, and it's much more effective to the audience.
I think someone wants to kill you.
I had to do a lot of training, just for 6 months, all the time. Every free second was spent with the stunt team.
I've heard that you had a few injuries.
There were a few, nothing much, just the odd cut and bruise. I had to have this reconstructed a bit, but this is an old injury, I think, which I've just aggravated on Quantum. It started aching during the shoot, and I went to see a surgeon, and he went, "Come see me soon."
Both, what's the expression? Damaged goods.
Who is your favorite Bond?
Sean Connery, because he defined it. He defined it and he made it his, and I think it's one of the reasons the franchise has lasted for so long, because he did such an amazing job.
Where do you think Daniel Craig ranks in the Bonds?
For me, he's my favorite Bond. Of course.
What are you doing? Hold on! There's no denying the tuxedo's a perfect fit. With double the action and breathtaking stunts, Daniel Craig is the definitive 007. See Bond at his best in Quantum of Solace.
Thank you so much, Alison. The Quantum of Solace is in theaters right now. Casino Royale made over $14 million on its opening weekend here in the United States. We'll see if Bond can break his own record. And if you're wondering what Quantum of Solace director Mark Forster is up to next, we have the news. The new Bond Helmer has already signed on to direct an adaptation of Max Brooks' apocalyptic zombie tale, World War Z. Brad Pitt's production company is producing the film to be written by Babylon 5 creator and Changeling writer J. Michael Straczynski. The story centers on the first-person accounts from survivors of a worldwide zombie epidemic that almost destroys humanity. Mark insists he won't be returning for another Bond movie, but with the huge weekend Quantum of Solace is having, there will be a big push to try and get Mark to sign on for another Bond movie. We'll definitely keep you updated. And in the weirdest directing news of the week, Mr. Blade Runner himself, Ridley Scott, is about to pass go and collect a whole lot more than $200. Scott is set to try something completely different in his career and direct a big screen adaptation of the game Monopoly. The Parker Brothers favorite was patented in 19 1935, but don't expect Mr. Monopoly to be in top hat and tails. Scott says that he envisions the film as having a futuristic edge. I have no idea what that means for the wheelbarrow or the thimble, but nevertheless, it's pretty interesting news. Expect Steven Spielberg to sign on to direct Hungry Hungry Hippos any day now. Alright, and finally, our last story today is the last chapter of the Mars Phoenix lander. Thousands of people followed the lander's Twitter account and got the news last week that it had gone silent. NASA says that the last transmission they received from the lander was on November 2nd, and they think that Mars Phoenix finally succumbed to the freezing cold temperature of the Martian winter. On the lander's Twitter account, NASA bid their friend a fond farewell, saying, "Phoenix did us proud." But they haven't given up hope yet. Even though they've officially declared an end to the mission, they will continue to check for any stray transmissions when the orbiters fly over the area where the lander is located. And for those of you following the Twitter account, they promise to update with tweets about any future discoveries and news. Well guys, that's it for today, but I'll have more news for you all week in the feed on Attack of the Show. Then tune in again next Saturday night, the 21st at 9:30 p.m. Eastern for the feed Week in Review right here on G4. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'll see you Monday with the latest news you care about. I'm Layla Kaylee, and you have just been fed. Bye guys.